Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. Today I bring you the Snob tag. So I'd like to begin by thanking Michelle from Literary Me for tagging me in this very interesting tag. Thank you, Michelle. If you are not currently following Michelle, I recommend that you check out her channel. She has wonderful reviews and her channel is very entertaining. So I'll go ahead and link her channel down below so you can show her some love. Now, this tag is all about measuring your snobbish bookish opinions. And it's called the snobbery or the snobometer tag. And I'll go ahead and walk you through the questions and I'll answer them as truthfully as possible so that we can determine if I am indeed a book snob or not. So, question number one is, what is your definition of book snobbery? So, I think book snobbery basically would be when anyone looks down on someone else because of what they read or don't read. So basically, that judgment of frowning down upon someone else's choices of reading materials or choices that they have made when it comes to books. I think that's basically what book snobbery is all about, and thinking that your way of reading or what you read is better than what others read. Question number two, is there a genre or type of book you would never consider reading? I don't think so. Currently, obviously, there are genres that are of my preference, and those of you who are followers of my channel know that I'm not really a big fantasy reader. I'm not even a big romance reader, but I do read occasionally some romances, and as of late, I have been very interested in reading some fantasy as well. So I would never say that there's a certain genre that I would never read, because even probably my least favorite genre, which is historical fiction, there have been books that I have picked up that are historical fiction and I have enjoyed them. So I think saying that there's one genre I would never read or I would never touch is kind of limiting myself. And reading is all about expanding your horizons and trying new things and learning about others. So I think I'd be remiss if I did that. Number three, does erotica count as literature? So sure, I think anything can count as a work of literary content per se. It's words written on a page, and so they can be considered a form of literature. Now, do I think that they are classics or books of literary merit? Perhaps not, if they haven't stood the test of time or whatnot. And I merely say this simply because of what we would define literature as, but I totally think erotica counts as literature. And I think that any written works should count as such. Question number four, is it better to read classic books than popular bestsellers? Of course not. I think both have their entertaining aspects. As a big reader of classics, this does not mean that I don't enjoy popular bestsellers. Quite contrary, I am able to enjoy classics and appreciate them for their commentary on the human experience and for their abilities to stand the test of time. But I am the first one to pick up a recent bestseller or an anticipated new release or a book of various popular genres that couldn't be further from classics. And I think there's merit and there's interest and there are good qualities about both, and I enjoy both. I think if we pigeonhole our reading we're limiting ourselves overall. Question number 5: have you ever bragged about reading a classic in order to sound smart? Um, I don't think I've ever bragged about reading a classic to sound smart, but I do enjoy talking about the classics I have read, and I do enjoy talking about books of literary merit with others. Probably because I am a teacher of classics and I teach AP literature. Maybe that's the reason why I enjoy talking to others about it. But I've never really used it as a measuring stick to compare myself to others or to brag, as the question brings up. Question number 6: do audiobooks count as reading? What about comic books and graphic novels? Yes to all the above. Audiobooks definitely count as reading. You are consuming that book. You are consuming that book. You are finding out about its plot and its characters. You can have a conversation with another person about it. So it doesn't really matter that you didn't physically read it with your eyes. You still endured and went through the entire reading experience of that book. So how could audiobooks not count? And there are people who are not physically able to read with their eyes, so is that not reading if they are consuming it through audiobook? And I definitely think manga and graphic novels and comics also count as reading, and they are books. I feel like if we don't believe that, then what is our definition of a book? Is a short story then not a book? Is a novella not a book? So I think definitely all of those count as books. Question number 7: have you ever looked down at someone for reading a popular fluff book, a book with little substance to it? For example, self-help or celebrity memoirs? Absolutely not. I am of the belief that we should not judge what others read. And what we can consider fluff reads might not be fluff reads to others, right? And I think that's a very opinionated and biased comment to assume that someone is reading fluff just because in your mind it fulfills certain criteria based on page numbers or based on its popularity or based on its lack of difficulty to get through it, or whatever that is that you are thinking is a good measure to call a certain type of reading fluff. Number 8: have you ever been the recipient of someone else's snobbery? Um, Not like actually like to my face, I think, but I have seen a lot of people comment on a Goodreads post or something dealing with the amount of books read, talking about how manga should not be included in the number of books that a person has read in the year, or that short stories shouldn't count, or audiobooks should not count. So I have endured that. I don't think it's been directed at me per se, but it's just been comments in the area, and I have felt seen because my total number of books that I read each year does include all of that. It includes a lot of audiobooks, it includes a lot of manga, and it includes basically whatever I feel like reading. So, yeah, I guess I have been, just not, in person or in my face or attacked with this snobbery per se. But yeah, I have encountered it, especially like in the online um, mediums. Number 9 is: would you ever be friends with a snob? And sure, I'm sure I'm friends with snobs. I mean, I work with a lot of colleagues who are English teachers, so I am sure, a lot of us who have earned post-secondary degrees in English might have some snobbish opinions about certain types of literature, British versus American versus Russian literature. I'm sure that, that has happened before, and I'm sure I am friends with people who have those snobbish ideas, but it's all in good fun, right? I think what's most important is that we should foster a love of reading, to everyone. Like, try to share the books that we're passionate about with others. And nothing makes me happier than seeing someone truly into whatever book they are reading, even if it's a book I would never pick up or a book I am not interested in. I delight in seeing someone else's joy for a book. There's nothing more beautiful than that, whether it's a novel or a novella or a graphic novel or whatever it is. Number 10, are people who don't read less sophisticated than people who do? And no, I don't think sophistication has to do with how much or how little, if at all, you read. I don't think that has anything to do with that. You can be, as a person, sophisticated in other manners. Sophistication in your taste for wine or foods, or reading is a hobby, right? And some people don't enjoy it. Some people just don't enjoy reading. So I think you can be sophisticated in many other ways. And I don't think someone who is well read is any more sophisticated per se than someone who doesn't. Do I think reading grants you vantage points and a better insight as to how the world works, and shows you empathy and all these other things? Absolutely. I think those are things that we can learn from reading, and it's one of my favorite things about being a reader. But I do not think necessarily that being well read or being a reader makes you more sophisticated than someone who chooses not to. 11, measure yourself based on your answers to the previous 10 questions. Would you qualify as a book snob? And I don't think so. I hope not. And this is why I think this is such a fun tag. um I don't, I basically don't think I am a book snob, simply because I respect people's choices and I don't judge them based on what they choose to read or consume. Are there books that others read that I would never pick up, or that I'm perplexed that people like? Absolutely. But I've never, told someone or thought to someone, oh, well, that's all you read, or, that's really not literature or whatnot. And therefore, I don't think I would consider myself a bookish snob. And then the last one is to tag some people, and obviously I will do that. Down below, I'll go ahead and tag some of you, because I'm dying to know what levels of snobbery um, you have reached. And yeah, I think that pretty much completes this tag. So once again, thank you, Michelle. This was so much fun. I was a little bit afraid I'd have to answer in a snobbish way for some of these, but I'm very glad that I did not. So thank you, Michelle, once again for tagging me in your video, and I'll go ahead and tag others as well. And as far as everyone watching, thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider liking and subscribing. That really helps me out. Guess I'll talk to you next time. Catch you later, guys. Bye.